Hello everyone, Pat Farabee here. This is another video response for Professor Anton, continuing the discussion about knowledge as substance. Before I begin, I would like to share with you something that he said in one of his videos about words and what are words. He says, words are what I know the world with. I really like that. I think that's a very good way of putting it. The way I've always said it is words are vocalizations of concepts. And they really don't even represent the object the object of the concept. They represent the concept. For instance, if I say chair, we all come up with a different thing in our head immediately of what I'm talking about. Some of us may visualize a flimsy lawn chair. Some of us may visualize a nice comfy recliner. Some of us may visualize a kitchen table chair or a throne or whatever it is that you came up with in your head. It's dependent entirely upon the person, but the concept is chair, and we all understand that it's something that you sit on. Now, that also is the problem with language in general, which is that there are so many interpretations for concepts that language can become ambiguous as to what exactly you're talking about. Now that said, moving on to the topic of the video, which was knowledge as substance. Now, one part of that I wanted to cover in my previous video, but I ran out of time, was the interchangeability that you had mentioned. I touched briefly on it, and I think I may not have been able to explain fully what I meant. Please don't think that I'm saying that you can simply swap person for person and get the same results. You can't take, say for instance, Joe the plumber, sit him down in front of a bunch of cosmology books, put him in Carl Sagan's shoes and expect Carl Sagan's revelations to pop out. It's not going to happen. Well, actually, it may happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but it's very unlikely. What I was trying to convey was not that the person is irrelevant, but that the person makes their revelation based upon the foundation that they start with. And more specifically, and you bring this point up very well, and I completely agree with you, it's more importantly the understanding of the position and not just the position. You can't just read the book and expect to understand it. You have to have that ability to make the journey to reach understanding. And that's true with any science. I mean, one method that's used in philosophy is that you build the bridge and you let them cross it. So you lay out the concepts, you lay out the steps, and you make them connect the dots. And in connecting those dots, they gain the understanding of exactly what's going on, or exactly what your point is. But what I was saying was that if you take someone who is capable of that, who is capable of seeing the research already done to that point and understanding all of this, then the leap to here is, in reference to this, rather small. It's not insignificant, because to grasp this itself is significant, but the leap from there to there is not that much more. The example that you used was an automobile that is capable of not starting when it's in gear. Wonderful innovation. Does the person who came up with that get credit for the automobile? No, they don't. The automobile to that point is the result of a long list of, it's just like evolution, short jumps from here to here. And only someone capable of understanding all of this is able to make the next jump. And so those people are few and far between, I will admit that. But that jump, when you have someone capable of understanding this, it may even be self-evident. In philosophy, a lot of the revelations are self-evident. You make that revelation because you understand what's coming up to it, and not because of any innate difference between you and anyone else that could be capable of understanding that. So again, I don't want to belittle people who make these revelations, but in the same sense, I think we should always understand that there is underlying work there that they have no hand in. For instance, if you were to take Carl Sagan, as brilliant as he was, and set him down and say, tell me the secrets of the cosmos, and he had never opened a single physics book, a single cosmology book, nothing, what do you think the answer would be? I mean, even in the course of his own life, he refined and developed his own philosophies about the cosmos. The point is not that, Joe Plumber could make Carl Sagan's revelation. It's that someone capable of understanding the things that Carl Sagan knew would be able, conceivably, to make that next leap. Now, there are a lot of points I wanted to make with this video. I'm probably not going to have time. But one of those was Socrates. You mentioned that Socrates was against writing, and that he had some good reasons to be against writing. I agree. One of the most valid points that he had was this idea of knowledge being an illusion. Shall we say, the illusion of having knowledge. Let's put it that way. Someone reads a book, they quote verbatim what they read in the book, whether or not they understand it, and someone says, oh, it's enlightening. It's enlightening. They understand. Okay, yes, that's an issue. But in defense of writing, it is not just an issue with writing. You can follow any sage and repeat what they say verbatim, and you're not going to be any more enlightened than you were before. It's a problem with any form of communication. Writing simply compounded it because the ideas were available to many more people. And I think that's really the underlying objection. If you look at it, it took that power, that ability to spread knowledge away from the people who were qualified or who thought themselves qualified to share that knowledge, to spread that knowledge. And it handed it to the now literate masses who all they had to do was be able to read to gain access to that. And it was a rightful objection that such a process leads inevitably to misunderstanding of concepts. And part of that is due to the limits of language itself. Part of that is due to the even more stringent restrictions, limits of writing. When I was in college, I was hired by a graduate student to help with a paper they were writing. My job was to write a computer program to facilitate communication between two people. And the paper itself was about the richness of media and how it impacts the message. And so there was my program that allowed people to communicate back and forth over the internet in text only. This was predating, IM software. And then there was another experiment being run where the participants were communicating over the telephone, and another one where they were face-to-face. Now, not surprisingly, face-to-face communication came out the winner on the accuracy of the conveyance of the message. Verbal communication only was a fairly close second, and lagging far behind was the textual representation. Now, the concepts they had come up with to talk about were the key to the results. You can't just say, the car is blue and say, okay, I got that. They were trying to convey these concepts that were fairly complex through this limited media. And I think that's a very good point. I think that the limitations of literature in conveying the nuances of our language is significant. I think that simple inflections of tone of voice make such a major difference in the conveyance of what you're talking about, of your message.